Welcome to the Deadlifts and Pizza podcast, where we discuss no BS fitness and nutrition.
We're your hosts. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jaime.
Let's get into it.
Right.
Well, how are you feeling?
Okay. I took some medicine, so that reduced my fever so I can function, you know?
You have a fever today?
Yeah.
And you're podcasting?
Yeah.
Bro, I would have been like, catch you later. Do a solo. I will not be there.
No.
How high is your fever?
It was like 101. It wasn't that high.
Ew. I'm so sorry. Is Caleb still sick?
No, he went to school today, but I got a message about Jules having a bad day, so I don't know if she was fine this morning, so I don't know.
Sorry, my dogs are barking at the construction outside. Magic Audio might take it out. If you can't hear dogs barking in the background, it's because of Magic Audio.
Is Magic Audio going to take out my laughter too, though?
No, actually, Magic Audio, we've been talking about the editing of the podcast and how some of the edits have taken out. Okay, it's going to be so good, this one. But no, the Magic Audio just takes out, it does a couple things. When your voice sounds a little echoey because of your microphone, it makes it sound like the same as mine. And then it also takes out background noise like really well, like not laughter. It takes out like the background noise.
Okay. What takes out the laughter?
It's when I go to, there's two things. It's pauses. I think it's pauses and filler. So pauses is when there's, I think so. I think it sees it as filler.
Okay.
But yeah, and then there's another one though. So those are like, okay, you gotta use them really sparingly, or like don't use them at all. I've learned. These are like the AI features of the podcast editing. But the one I like is Find Fluff. There's a third one that goes Find Fluff. And it finds areas in the podcast where either you repeated yourself or there'll be sometimes where I'll say something and I'll be like, oh no, we got to cut that out. And it'll pick that up.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Are you going to have to go pick her up?
I don't know. I told Wayne that if he can do it if I'm here.
Okay. So I just tore my house apart because, do you have a frother?
No.
You know those little sticks with it's like a tiny little circle at the top and it froths like coffee and stuff? So people use frothers to make like their collagen coffees or like to mix, you've seen them before. But have you seen a frother? It's like a little stick with a little circle at the top and it's almost like a tiny mini little blender, but it does it
like an immersion blender?
Kind of. Yeah, you do immerse it into your cup, but it has it's really small, like little circle, and it just kind of froths up whatever you're drinking.
Very similar to an immersion blender.
Yeah, but much small, like almost on like a very tiny little scale.
Yeah.
And people will use it to put like protein in their coffee and they'll like froth it or whatever. So I got a new immersion blender recently. So I have an immersion blender, but I have a new one that has like all these different attachments. Like it has like you can take off the blender part and attach a whisk to it. It's got a whisk attachment. It's even got a mini food processor attachment. So you take the immersion blender stick, like handle, and like put it on top of this little mini food processor. So these different little functions. And I knew that it came with a frother attachment and I hadn't gotten a chance to use it yet. And so I really wanted to use it. I'm drinking chicken broth with like collagen and creatine in it. And I wanted to make this drink so I could drink it and be warm. I get my supplements in. And I'm like tearing the house apart looking for it. I looked in all the places I would put it. I looked in all the logical places. I was like, my husband stuck it in some odd location. And I am like in every cabinet, in every basket, like, where is this frother? I even like called my husband and I'm like, where is this frother? He's like, I've never seen it before. I was like, how have you not seen it? He's like, he can't even picture it. I was like, I can picture it. I know exactly what it looks like. It's a frother attachment. And then for some reason, it just like something clicked in my brain and it went, do you have a frother attachment? And so I went and got the guide for my new immersion blender to see what it came with. And it does not come with a frother attachment. So I just like made it up in my head and spent like 20 minutes tearing the house apart trying to find it. And I've never owned a frother in my life. Is that weird?
It just sounds very Jaime.
I was so frustrated. I was like, I've literally never owned a frother in my life. I just imagined that I now had one. And I've been looking for it everywhere.
I can see that.
Anyway, I used my immersion blender and it worked just as fine. So it turns out I didn't need a frother anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. And it's really good.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yes. Thank you. You have topics today, or am I've got all the topics?
You've got all the topics.
Okay, you still have to talk though, because some of my topics a lot of them are questions.
That's totally fine. I
Cool.
just can't come up with
I wanted
topics.
did you work out this morning? There's no way you worked out this morning.
I got up.
Stop
and
it,
I
Laura.
No, I got up and I was all ready. I got all ready to work out.
No, you didn't.
I did. And then I was like getting ready to go out into the shed, and I was like, I did it. I went back and forth like 3 times. I was like, I should do it. I'll be fine. And then I was like, no, I'll just go later. And then I was like, no, you could take a day off. And then I was like, no, you should really do it. And I went back and forth. And finally I was like, babe, I call myself babe sometimes.
To yourself?
Babe. Yeah.
Babe, do you really?
Yeah.
Babe,
listen, you can take a day off. Yeah.
Do you really call yourself babe in your head?
I do.
This is new for me. I've never known that. I love that
I do
so
that.
much.
Sometimes I call myself baby girl. Baby girl. I need to give myself some compassion.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. So, babe, you didn't work out? You didn't work out, babe?
I went
Good
and laid
for
on the
you.
couch instead.
You know
and I
what,
was like,
though?
that was nice.
What time did you fall asleep last night?
Like 9:30.
Dang, nice. And you have an alarm that goes off.
I do. So, but when I'm sick, I don't always sleep very well. So I woke up at like 1 o'clock, and I couldn't fall back asleep right away. And then I woke up before my 5:30 alarm, which I usually
So you woke up naturally.
Yeah.
Well, because I was going to say, if I'm sick, not even fever sick, if I just have a cold, I'm turning that alarm off. I'm like, nope, babe needs to sleep in. Baby girl, you need to sleep in.
You need some sleep.
Your body is asking you to recover. I would not even think, twop, look at that. No workout tomorrow. It's funny how I find you fascinating. You're like an alien creature, like how you function.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you took a day off. With 101-degree fever, you were going to work out.
I was, but
5:30 in the
I
morning.
felt better in the morning than I did like a couple hours. I think when I woke up at 1, I couldn't fall back asleep, and I think I had a fever then. So I took Tylenol, and then I think it was probably still in my system when I woke up that my fever wasn't as high, so I didn't feel as bad. But then later on, I was like, I could have never, like I would. No. Yeah.
Do you remember when we first were friends, like 2 years ago? You couldn't sleep. You didn't sleep.
I know. I know. No,
Do you still not sleep?
That happens sometimes. Like more recently, I've been waking up in the middle of the night, but I can usually fall back asleep. And it happens around a certain part of my cycle. It must have to do with my hormones dropping or something. And it does happen, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I think subconsciously when I'm very anxious, even if I don't feel anxious, like there's nothing racing through my brain or anything like that. It's not like I have racing thoughts. I think that makes me not sleep very well, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I usually don't have trouble falling asleep. It's usually just staying asleep. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting.
So I have to
All
be
right.
careful. Yeah.
Well, similar topic. I wanted to ask you, so you live in upstate New York.
Uh-huh.
And it's been funny talking to you because me, stupid San Antonio shut down schools on Monday, but they announced it Saturday morning before there was even any rain or ice having fallen. And then, of course, by the time Monday came, it was all melted, gone. It was like 30 degrees and sunny. It was a beautiful day. They didn't need to be up. And then we had a 2-hour delay the next day. And announced later on that beautiful day, I think it hit 50, and it was 2-hour delay tomorrow. We were like, why? I'm so confused. And meanwhile, and I put sweaters on my dogs, and it was I don't remember. I think it was 28 degrees. I feel like that was fair.
Is that necessary? Was my message
you were
back to you?
Is that necessary? I was like, I feel like it is because this is really cold, but maybe not to you. So anyway, just thinking about fitness and nutrition when it's cold AF outside. And not only are you insanely consistent no matter what, but you live in upstate New York and your workout area is in a cold shed in your backyard. So yes, it will warm up, but it's not always warm when you get out there, and you get up at 5:30 in the morning to do it. And I want to point out, you work from home. So it's
Mhm.
not like you're working out at 5:30 in the morning because then you have to get ready and go to your day job. Like, you could work out at any time in the day. And if it was me, I wouldn't be working out at 5:30 in the morning. So anyway, all of this stuff to say, I would love to hear from you some tips, some things that you actually have to implement, because it can't just be easy. There's got to be some friction that you have to think and you have to work through. Like, how do you stay consistent when it's so cold outside, and with your nutrition also? And if your answers are, "Oh, I don't know, you just do it." I mean, that's not acceptable.
That's what I feel like saying.
I want practical tips. Is there anything extra you do? Like, okay, it's going to be really cold and this is really, really unenjoyable, so I'm going to do XYZ in order to make it a little easier for myself. Or you're grimacing. Like, there's nothing. It really is just, I just do it. I don't know.
It's just, I have these things that are non-negotiable and I make them happen. And I will find ways to make it happen. I don't know, working out, it's not too cold. Well, so it was harder when I worked out in my garage because that didn't warm up. So I'd be out there and it was 20 degrees in there and the bar was freezing and I would just do my workout like that.
Oh
So
my
that was
gosh.
much more challenging. Here, like, I have the heater in here, so I keep it at like 53 is the temperature I'll set the heater at, so that it stays that consistently. And then that way because I actually don't get super cold. It's the bar and the
Yeah.
bell and the dumbbells and the kettlebells and all those things get really cold. Once I'm like working out, I warm up.
Right.
So if I keep it at that temperature, and then I'll put it up to like 58 when I'm working out, it's like fine. So the cold
Yeah.
doesn't really bother me for that, but it does bother me for getting steps in.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes more challenging in the wintertime, and I definitely don't get as many steps. I don't know if I have very good tips because I'm just you gotta do it person. Like, it's a non-negotiable, and it's just something that I'm like, nope, you're not letting yourself off the hook. You are going to go out in that -20 garage and walk on a treadmill.
That's where your treadmill is? Your
It's in the
treadmill's still in?
garage. Yeah, because there's no other place in the house to put it.
Do you use it every day?
No, I try to. So,
I'm
I'll s
figuring out, I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm pulling the tips from it, by the way.
okay,
I've
okay.
got 2 already.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so when the kids so I try to get, like, some steps in first thing in the morning, whether that's it's been too cold to do it outside and snow and
Mhm.
it's just too hard, so I'll walk through the house or whatever. But then when I'm done, I'll stop working around 3, um, and then I wait for the kids to get off the bus, and when I'm waiting, I, like, pace back and forth, and I'll walk through the house, and I'll pace and whatever. So by that time, I could usually get 6 to 7,000 steps, and so I don't have to do too many later, so I don't always have to go on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Breaking it up like that can be helpful in finding times but I have to walk through my house to get the steps in instead of the
And what would
treadmill.
you say in the winter is more of, like, your average step amount?
8,000. Like, I
Mhm.
try
And
not to do less than 8.
then when it's nice out, you're more like 10 to 15 probably?
Yeah, I never get, like, 15, but in the spring, it might be, like, 10 to 12. Very
Yeah.
rarely. Like, I'll have, like, a week or 2 where it's, like, 15. That would
Mhm.
like, I'm thinking of, like, averages for the week. Like, I can have a day or 2 where I'm,
Mhm.
like, 15 or 17, but rarely is that, like, an average. I'm not somebody who gets a bazillion amount of steps because I just don't have a very active job. You'd think as a
Mhm.
trainer you would, but I don't.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Cool. And then what about nutrition? Do you find yourself craving, like, more warm, cozy comfort foods?
My nutrition is not very good right now, yeah.
But is it right now or is it every winter?
It's probably every winter. It is, but
Mhm.
it's not horrible. It's just not as good as it is in the summer, but it's also like I'm wearing a hoodie, you know?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? It's a little more
Yeah.
like you can like once you start having to wear tighter clothes, you're like, okay, I got to get my nutrition in check. But I don't like
Yeah.
let it go off the rails where I'm gaining 10 pounds or something.
Right. Well, how do you do that?
Discipline.
I just do. being an elite human.
It's just, I'm just amazing that way. No,
You know, there's something to be said though, for real, about it must be something that is just like a personality based thing, because I've told you before about the client I had that was in Canada, and it was always cold, and she had all of her stuff in her garage, and she never missed and she she I don't understand how she lived. I wouldn't say she completely was like self-sustaining, but like, she grew her own food, and she was constantly working on her house, like, doing projects, like, manual labor type she just lived alone, and she had, like, an older house, and she was constantly, like, wheelbarrowing manure and dirt and carrying things and building things, and there was constantly projects that she was having to work on, either out on her, like, land or in her house, and she would send me her training videos, and she would be, like, scarf, hat, gloves, sometimes, like, snow pants, like, ridiculously, like,
yeah,
lifting that barbell, doing, like, working on her, cleans, because that was her goal that she wanted to work
yeah.
on. And she also had a full-time job. So she was like, but she was consistent. And then there's me, and I am very consistent, but it's also my job. And but I'm not like as consistent as you are. Like, we joke all the time about like the excuses I would use and that the ones that you don't. And there's definitely like these personality things that make it easier for somebody to like really be consistent and disciplined, and really hard for somebody to be consistent and disciplined. And I wonder what that is.
I don't know. The other thing I forgot to mention when you were saying that you would do it later in the day because it's so cold. If I did it later in the day, I wouldn't be as consistent. I have to do it first thing in the morning because it's like later on in the day, I'll be like, well, I also have to do the dishes and I have to do this and I should do this instead. And my morning time is my workout time. So I laid that out like this is the only thing I have to do at
But
this
see, I
time.
agree with that. Like, I feel the same way. I'm not as consistent because I work out later. And whether that's because I'm still getting workouts in, but maybe maybe I'm 90% consistent instead of 95% consistent, because there'll be ones that I miss. Or I find myself rushing because it's getting later and we have to walk the dogs, and I'm like literally running back and forth, helping the kids with homework, making
Mhm.
sure the dinner's ready. I'm like distracted when I'm doing them. I'm cutting off the last set. Um, I would love to send the kids off to school and then get a focused workout in the morning, or even like get up way before them, before I even have to wake them up, and have my workout done. Like, I love the idea of that. And like every couple of years, I'll be like, this is the time, and I will implement it, and it will last a few months. And it's just like, I hate it too much.
Mhm.
I think I'm too lazy in the morning. Like, on the weekends, I won't move from the couch for 2 hours, and I'll just be
Yeah.
sitting there reading with my dog on my lap.
Did I ever tell you? I don't know if I told you this. When I first started lifting for real, I've always been somebody who was into fitness, but I wouldn't be consistent because I didn't find the right thing yet. Right. So I was all
Yeah,
over the
yeah.
place and I would always try and then I would fall off and then try and then fall off. When I found lifting and lifting
Mhm.
heavy and I started implementing that for the first year, the entire year, I worked out 7 days a week and I did not miss one day.
Dang. Lifting
S-
heavy 7 days a
No,
week?
no. Like it was
Oh.
like I have something scheduled every single day and I do not miss a day. And so it might have been 3 or 4 days of lifting and then other days where it would be like, mobility or I don't even remember. I think so. Do you remember one of the first programs I did was MAPS Anabolic from Mind Pump. And with that program, you do trigger sessions in between. So you have days in between where you do the trigger sessions. So it could be like a 7-day-a-week program. So I think I would do the trigger sessions in between, and then one day would be mobility. And then like if you do MAPS performance, it was like 3 days of lifting and then mobility workouts in between that were like there were still some exercises and things. It wasn't just like stretching, but you would do that in between. But I had something scheduled every day for an entire year, did not miss one day. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to establish that routine of like, nope, this is who you are. You're this person and you do this every day and you don't you know, like if I knew
Mhm.
that if I made like an excuse or something that it could eventually lead to me missing more days and more days, the more I let myself off the hook, the more I'm going to let myself off the hook. So because of that, I established that. And I don't know if that's why I've become this person who just doesn't miss workouts unless I have a really high fever is really the only time, or if I'm like super injured.
Super injured, not mediocrely injured.
Not mediocrely injured.
Mediocre injuries in the gym. That's interesting because it's kind of like, it makes me think of like 75 hard, and there's so much kind of like that, like, isn't great about that concept of 75 hard. And it's, if you don't know what 75 hard is, it's like 75 days of going insanely hard. It's like 2-a-day workouts. One has to be outside. It also involves reading, I think, a certain amount every day. It's just like all of these like self betterment things that you're supposed to do every single day. And there's a lot of hate on stuff like that because it's so unsustainable. But I think that's the point, right? It's not meant to be sustainable. And doing something that's very, very hard and that's a little bit over the top can help make the sustainability piece of it actually easier. So that's kind of what you did, is you went hard 7 days a week. And when that fizzled out, you had put something into place that was a little bit easier. Well, I can stick to, 80% of the effort that I've been
Yeah.
giving, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just, a lot of people are they kind of let themselves off the hook a little bit. Like they
Yeah.
have excuses and things. And I try not to do that. But it's only certain areas of my life. I think it also
Right.
has to be like, I see the reason that I'm doing this, right? So if I work out, I feel so much better. It's not just that
Yeah.
like we all know the benefits of working out, but I instantly feel better. If I take days off, I feel like crap. So I think I associate it with that. So I don't want to miss a day. Like I actually want to do it. I don't like missing a day. And I think that's
Yeah.
important. It's like, you were saying like you hated it. I don't hate it.
Mhm.
Walking I do, but I'm still disciplined with that, so I don't know. I don't hate walking, I just hate doing it in the cold.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Um,
it's not that bad.
Anything else with nutrition? Like, do you find yourself craving sweets or craving higher fat comfort foods?
I definitely crave more sweets, but I think that's more I don't think that's because it's cold, I think that's because Christmas, once you start eating sugar, you want more sugar. Honestly, I know we preach sustainability and we preach all of these things, and I agree, but sometimes, honestly, the best thing to do is to go like I did, like 7 days a week. Same thing with food, is just be like, I'm cutting out all sugar. I'm cutting
Yeah.
out all sugar for like a week or two, and then I can add it back in. Another thing I did when I first started is I would allow myself to eat, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this before, but like eat a couple pieces of chocolate at night. Like allow in quotes, right? But I had like rules of like, you don't get to eat that all day, but it was like my little like snack, like my little treat at the end of the night. And it was just like a couple pieces, so it wouldn't affect my progress or anything. But it was enough to make me feel like I had something to look forward to, right? But eventually that made me not really want that chocolate
Yeah.
anymore because I got so used to it. But I still had like rules. Like I had like rules I need to follow. I think I'm somebody who needs like I need to give myself like this is a rule. Otherwise I kind of go all over the place. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are like that. So I know we're
Yeah.
like against like, you got to be really strict and do this and that, but sometimes it can be helpful to have rules and guidelines that you have to stick to. And if you go off, then it's going to happen sometimes, but the goal would be to stick to them as much as possible. As long as they're not like super rigid. Like you could never have chocolate ever again is totally different than, you're allowed one piece a day.
Right. Do you find yourself eating more like kind of soups and stews or things that are warm? Do you
Oh yeah.
sip on any warm drinks during the day or anything like that?
No, but I probably should. Tea sounds good. I
Yeah.
probably should. But yeah, it's because I love soup. So that's one of the reasons, not because it's cold, because I know I won't want that in the summer. So I like to try to eat the things that I wouldn't eat in the summer and then eat the things in the summer that I don't want in the winter, So I'll
Soup
bake
can be
more.
so filling too.
Yes,
Soup can
it
be
is.
like the broth, the vegetables. You can actually
Mhm.
make a really filling, comforting meal that way.
Yeah, lots
You
of
said you bake
nutrients.
more?
Yeah, and I don't mean like treats. I just mean like dinners. Like I turn the oven on,
Oh,
whereas in the summertime I'm not going to do that.
yeah. What kind of
So
stuff do you make in the oven?
like this week I have like Mediterranean baked cod. It's like this dish with
Mm. Oh, you show me that one. It's got like capers and stuff on it.
yeah, but I don't use the capers. Ugh.
I don't like capers either.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, I'll do stuff like that. You know.
Cool. Okay, so Laura's tips
Okay,
for
I want to
when
hear. I
it's
want to hear
cold.
what you pulled from that.
Laura's tips when it's cold AF.
Mm-hmm.
Setting non-negotiables.
Yes.
So there has to be a line in the sand, and this kind of goes with the 75 hard and the like having like rules and guidelines. You have to set some things that are non-negotiables. And to me too, it's like the idea of rules is kind of like if you have a boundary that you're not supposed to cross. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
fence there. So imagine like a big field and there's a fence and you're not supposed to cross the fence. Let's say it's a dog. Okay, great. This analogy is evolving. Dog is in a field, there's a fence. And the dog knows it's not supposed to leave because there's a very clear fence that's giving that guideline. But if the fence, instead of being like a large metal fence, was like a very short, maybe picket fence, then it's like a little easier to jump over, right? Or let's say it's not even a picket fence and it's kind of just like a line
Mm-hmm.
or like a piece of ribbon, and the dog has to be trained not to go over the ribbon. Okay, but there's still a lot of fluff room there. Now let's say like you can just keep going with this analogy and make that boundary like more and more easy to fluff and get around.
Yes, and the non-negotiables have to be those have to be somewhat sustainable. You can't make yourself miserable. So if you're using that fence analogy, you can't put them in like a crate and expect them to want to stay in there, right? You're gonna have to give them enough room. So I don't aim for 15,000 steps a day, right? Like that's not
Right.
my goal. Although sometimes I make goals that so that I what is it? I fail up or whatever I said
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
sometimes I do that, but um for the most part, the non-negotiable would be like you need to get at least 8,000 steps. But that doesn't mean I don't have goals where I try to get more than that. But that would be
Right.
like my non-negotiable. Like that's the minimum. With working out, it might be like it depends on the program. But I have like a day. Like sometimes my weekend workout I do, and sometimes I don't. So that one's like not a non-negotiable. But if I feel like doing extra, I'll do that one. But I'll like work out at least 5 days a week or something like that. So
Right.
make it something that is sustainable, and you can always have bonus if you want to do more.
Right. Well, it kind of goes, my next one I got is like lower your expectations, and not even in a negative way, like in a practical way. So you said that your step goal in the winter is lower than it is maybe in the spring or summer.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really logical thing to do. I think people try to hold themselves to these standards that might not fit where they are in life. And that can go with like the literal seasons too. As I was just telling my client group yesterday, that like literally lower your expectations. You don't need to get 10,000 steps every day. If you get 8,000, like, and we talked about the whole idea of diminishing returns. Once you go beyond 8,000, it's like, so don't really push yourself. Try to get that 8,000 or even 7,500 if that feels doable.
Yeah.
But lower your expectations. And that goes with what you were talking about with nutrition too. Your expectations with nutrition aren't to be perfect right now. You're wearing hoodies. You're not, you can't sustain that obsession with food and, eating less all of the year anyway, nor should you. And so this is the time of year where you can kind of relax that a little bit and like lean into that.
And then you have more energy when you go into your cut. Like if I was too busy worrying about how all the food right now, when I go in my cut, I'm already tired and I don't want to do it. Right. But
Yeah.
if I'm kind of relaxed, I kind of want to do a cut. I'm like, okay, I want to get some of this fluff off. Right.
Do you ever feel the desire to do a cut or a midi cut like in January or February because you're just feeling so fluffy from the holidays?
I do. And it's not usually like a fat thing. It's like a bloated thing. Because if I don't eat as many whole foods, I get a little bloated. That's how I feel right now. So it's more like not, I'm going to go into a cut. It's more like I'm going to do a week where I eat like 90% whole foods or something like that. And I'll feel better.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I feel like not the exact same, but kind of similar where I might feel like I want to de-bloat or de-fluff a little bit in January, February, even though it's not really the time where I want to focus heavy on cutting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, because I have a lot of experience doing this, coaching people through it, and then just like living it, I can identify the difference between when I'm going to put up very rigid rules and fences for a legit cut and when I don't need to be as rigid with it, but I know that I can set some habits that will probably put me in that. Like I'll probably lose a couple of pounds from my Christmas weight, my holiday weight or
Yeah.
fluffing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to obsess over it so much that like I'm aiming for that low weight on the scale again right now. It's just kind of to get back to a level playing field. It's like a middle ground between maintaining and cutting, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of strange because I was thinking about that. I was like, it's not as rigid as I'm going to bulk, maintain, or cut. I guess technically, if we're looking at it scientifically, I'm maintaining, but I am kind of in a little bit of a cutting phase also. Like it's in the middle somewhere. It's kind of
Yeah.
defluffing. It's a defluff.
Defluff phase.
Right? The defluff phase without, being
And
too
it doesn't
obsessed
take
with
that
it.
long. It's like a week.
Yeah. And once you get back, and then you got to reset your palate and, all that stuff. Sometimes it takes longer than a week for less elite people, but I mean, this one the next one that I have here that you said is a little bit bigger picture, but I thought it was important to mention is like finding something that you love. And I think that it's important for people, instead of constantly seeing their failures as failures, seeing them as like opportunities to grow and learn about yourself, and be able to sit and ask yourself, like, is this because like, what are the reasons why? Is it because I literally am just a failure? Is it because I expected too much of myself? Is it because I really don't believe that what I'm doing, this is a huge one. There's a lack of true belief that what you're doing is actually going to get you where you want to go, either because you made it up in your head or you saw it online and you don't actually believe it's going to be. So if you don't have that faith in it, you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be like, I don't really like this. I don't feel good when I'm done. I don't get excited about like my progress, and I just don't really like it. And maybe I need to try something else.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. Is it's so much easier to be consistent when you know that you're doing something. Like, it has some benefits you're going to get from the back end. Like if I keep doing something over and over and over again and I don't really see anything from it, I'm not going to continue that. Like, why am I torturing myself? Right?
Yeah.
It's like posting on Instagram.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like,
I know
I don't want to do that
is
anymore.
It's like posting on Instagram because it's like posting on Instagram is like your strength training. Yeah. Yes, I know. If I'm consistent posting every day, something's supposed to happen. I've been doing this for years and I hate it.
Yeah. Like, and then I realize I'm not going to be consistent with that because I hate it. So I got to find something else. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was listening to a podcast this morning where they were talking about, like the way that you focus on attention, and the person was basically saying like that he can't sit in an airplane or a car for more than like 45 seconds without having something to listen to. He can't stare out the window. He can't just be quiet. He has to be listening to something. And even when he challenges himself to try to be still, it's like very hard. And relating it to people who enjoy running for like an hour or 2 hours, like long distance endurance things. There are people that can quiet and sit in quiet and then can get something from that and enjoy it easier than other people. And that can lead into like, how you experience exercise too. Like the thing I love about strength training is it's constantly moving and changing. I'm constantly having to think about what I'm doing. I don't just go on autopilot and get lost in my thoughts. I can't, because I have to track the weight. I have to be thinking about, and that's how my brain works. And so it works really well for me. I couldn't go run for an hour. Oh my God. No, not even listening to something. I just couldn't do the monotony of it. I wouldn't enjoy it.
Especially at that like moderate, low intent. Like I could walk for an hour, but jogging I couldn't. It's like it has to do with like you're semi-suffering for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like walking doesn't feel that way to me. So I could walk for an hour, and listen to something, because I could get lost in my thoughts and whatever. But running, I'm going to be thinking about, I hate running, and I'm not going to be really even being paying attention to the podcast.
I can't even, like, the idea of just walking for an hour. I could walk my dogs for an hour, because I would be constantly like looking at them, pulling them away from stuff, trying to pick up their poop, pulling them away from dogs. There's like things I'm doing if I had my dogs with me. I could walk with a friend for an hour. I could go hiking with a friend for an hour, but to just set out on my feet and think I'll be back in an hour. Like, but what's going to happen in those 60 minutes? I need a plan. Like, I can't even bike riding. I like to bike. I love bike riding, but I like biking to destinations. I want to bike to school or
Okay.
bike to the grocery store or bike to the coffee shop. But I
Okay.
don't just go out on a 1-hour bike ride. And it's funny too, because if I did go walk or bike or even jog for a full hour and do that endurance, I probably would feel better afterwards. You finish and go, okay, actually, all right, I do
Yeah.
feel a little bit better. But it's like not enough to tip the scales to want me to continue doing it and be consistent with it.
Yeah, I am like, sometimes I need it. So I won't even listen to something sometimes, and I will just go for a walk, and I'll be alone with my thoughts, and I have so many thoughts, and it just helps me clear my head and think. And you know how like you're the think to talker and I'm the
Talk to thinker.
You're the talk to thinker, I'm the think to talker. Like I have to think and organize my thoughts, and that's what I do. So it helps me, and it helps me calm down and be less anxious, I think, when I do that. So I, I, and if there's too many people around, or I need to get out and just be alone and with my thoughts. So I think walking helps that, but running or jogging, it's different. It doesn't feel the same because I don't like it.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I could probably bike maybe.
Another tip I have that you said was some kind of small treat or reward at the end of the night that you look forward to that won't really mess up your progress, but that you can just know that it's coming. Like if you just like really, I don't know why I'm using ice cream because it's cold and nobody wants ice cream when it's cold, right? But let's say it is. That can be something at the end of the night that you look forward to having. Some kind of small portion that you can have every single day.
Like 100 calories-ish.
Yeah, of whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then soups and broth and warm things. And it's funny because a lot of people feel like they crave like warm comfort foods, all that stuff in the winter, and they feel like it's a problem. But I feel like it's not, because there's so many things that fall into that category that are so nutritious and filling, like I guess soups, right?
Yeah.
I love to make curries. Like I made a big curry with all these leftover veggies and chicken in my fridge last night. Used just 1 can of light coconut milk in this whole pot. So it's really not like that heavy at all. And it's so good and nutritious. Soups, brothy soups with lots of veggies. They fill you up a lot. I love to like sip on chicken broth like throughout the day, or make a giant pot of veggie soup. And whenever you want to eat, like have your regular meals and then just have veggie soup whenever you want on top of that. And it's so filling and satisfying without adding extra calories.
I make soup once a week, usually, or some kind of big meal like that, but it's usually soup in the wintertime. And not only is it like nice that, you know, it's like that filling, but you can, it lasts forever. So like it takes longer to make than other things. So I usually do it on like a Saturday or something, but then I have it until like Wednesday for leftovers, you know? So that's the other thing. It's helpful for having leftovers, which
Definitely.
So you don't have to cook every day.
And as I said, soups and like broth, and also like teas and warm drinks can really help. Just kind of not only curb cravings, especially if you're craving sweet things. So I love to do, like I've been having I think I said this already, but chai with like a little bit of milk and some, you can do any kind of sweetener honestly, but I do like the monk fruit sweetener, and it's so delicious. Sipping on that, it feels like a treat. It feels just like so, yeah, I love it. But yeah, okay. My 2 favorites were setting those non-negotiables and lowering your expectations. You know, but I think there's a lot to be said for the whole idea of like rules and like the 75 hard, like setting something that might be, but I don't know if that's something you'd want to start in like the winter when you're already feeling, you know, what do you think?
Have you ever heard that if you could do it in the winter, or if you could do it in the time where it's the hardest and you can be consistent then it's going to be easier when you do it in easy times. So I don't think it's a bad idea to start something when it's hard, as long as you're going to do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that the success rate is probably lower too.
Yes.
So it's like risk reward, very high reward. But
if you're motivated, if you feel really motivated, I think it works.
Yeah, cool. Laura's tips for getting it done when it's cold AF. Good job.
Thanks for pulling out some tips of just do it.
Yeah.
I just do it. I don't know.
I just go through the motions. I don't know why can't everybody
I wake
do
up
this?
at 5:30, or sometimes before, actually it's usually like 5:20 in the morning as I I don't even set, like, I have an alarm. My body doesn't need the alarm. It just wakes up.
Yeah. Crazy. And on the weekends too, right?
Yes, and that's frustrating. I try to make
Yeah.
myself go back to sleep, but I can't always. So I still
Mm.
go to bed pretty early on the weekends,
Yeah.
unless football's on.
Mm.
And then I have to watch those Chicago night games because both those games were amazing. I think both of them were at night. I don't know. One of them definitely was at night.
Huh. Okay, we don't need to talk about that anymore. We already talked about that. Do you want to do Q&A or do you want to go through the last 8 exercises and rate them on a S through F tier?
Let's do the last 8 exercises.
All right.
I wanted to revise one of mine.
Oh.
So
Laura's expansion corner.
Yeah. Laura's revision corner.
Mm-mm.
I think I was too harsh on goblet squats. I think I'm gonna up it to a B because C is just way too harsh. And the reason I was doing that was just because it's really hard to load up.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, a really good exercise for most people. So I'm gonna move it to a B.
Do you want to give it like a low B, like an 82%?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. All right. So we're rating, I have 8 exercises, and these are just, you're rating them S through F, and S is like superior. And just based on anything you want, just as an exercise, how would you grade it? And you can divide it like, well, for hypertrophy, it's blank, but strength, it's blank, however you
Okay.
want to do it. All right. I picked all the best ones last time, so these are kind of like the sloppy leftovers. Some of them.
Okay.
Tricep press down. Cable tricep press down.
Cable tricep press down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a B because it does what it needs to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like an A exercise because you're not building a ton of strength with that. But if you want to get some hypertrophy in your triceps, then sure, and focus on them. Then I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay. Trick pop quiz.
Mhm.
How could you take that exact same mechanism? You're doing a cable tricep press down.
Mhm.
How could you make it an A exercise for hypertrophy? Using the same mechanism. How could you improve tricep hypertrophy by
Like
doing maybe a different variation?
maybe like where you stand with your back towards the cable and you go overhead because it gets more of a stretch on your
Good
triceps.
job. Yes. Because you're stretched in the where it's inserting and where it's, what is the origination and insertion of the muscle? You're stretching both of those points, not just at the elbow, but at the shoulder too. A cable glute kickback.
Same thing, a B. It does what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you're not building like a ton of strength. But if you want to, like, that's like a glute isolation exercise. That can be a way to add some extra volume to that area.
Yeah, I think for glute exercise, I'd probably give it an A.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's a really good one. I also really like it for the amount of stability and kind of core activation involved to get the right angle and to do it correctly and get the right form. I really like that exercise in general. So for that, I'd probably give it an A. For strength, obviously, it's not,
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. I would overall give it like a...
that. Sometimes it could be a little hard to set up or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe a low A. I think I'd give it like a 91%. Yeah. Squat thrusters, squat overhead thrusters. So we have dumbbells front loaded on our shoulders, squat down. As we come up, we thrust them overhead.
I'm having a hard time with this one because it depends on what you're doing it for. So if it's for hypertrophy, like D, because the amount of weight, it's any kind of combo exercise. One of the muscles that you're hitting is going to be the weakest link, right? So you could squat way more than you can press, right? So your legs aren't really getting hit. So you might as well just break those up into 2 different exercises, right? If you're trying to do them for like getting your heart rate up or something, it can be fine, right? So I'm going to say C.
Yeah, I agree. C. If you're doing it to get your heart rate up, it could work well in like some kind of circuit, but it's not going to do very well for increasing strength or muscle if that's your goal.
No.
Stiff leg Romanian deadlift.
Stiff leg Romanian deadlift. I'm giving it a B. No, I gave Romanian deadlift an A, right? Or no, I gave it an S, right? I gave it an
Yeah,
S.
I think so.
So I guess I can give it an A. I don't like it as much, so I don't do it as often.
Yeah. I'm leaning C for this
C?
one.
All the way down to C?
Yeah. I like it. I will choose a stiff leg Romanian deadlift when I really want to bias my hamstrings or like get
Yeah.
that nice hamstring stretch.
Mhm.
I guess the reason I'm putting it as C is because if I really RDLs also hit your hamstrings really well. Like even if people don't think they are, they really are. And I don't know, just because I feel it more in a stiff leg, I don't really know if it's really doing that much more than a standard RDL for my hamstrings. I also think that if I really wanted to hit my hamstrings, like if I was doing a day where I was like, I just really want to hit my hamstrings, I probably wouldn't do, I don't know, like there's other exercises you could do that probably hit your hamstrings better. The other reason I don't really love a stiff leg deadlift when I'm just thinking about like general population is so many people accidentally do a stiff leg RDL when they're trying to learn how to do an RDL.
Yeah.
And they just don't shove their hips back enough and they end up doing a stiff leg RDL. And because they end up doing it wrong from the beginning, it has a lot higher potential to put stress on your low back because of the
Mhm.
angle that you're bending over trying to keep your legs straight. And so I think for a lot of people, like I don't program stiff leg RDLs for anybody until they're like very, very good at RDLs. And even then I only do it for like a variation. But if I want my client to hit their hamstrings, I'm usually giving them a different exercise anyway. So that's the reasons why I'm just like, it's a good exercise and I do them, but I just don't know.
I don't know. I like them because I don't have a lot of options for my hamstrings that I'm like isolating them at home.
I
I don't
think
have
that's
a
why I
hamstring
do
curl.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
It's
don't.
harder to set up a curl.
It's harder to find something where I can load it up the same way that I can with that. So that's why I would move it higher. Like if I had an easy way to do hamstring curls that was an easy setup, I would do that more often than that. But yeah, I don't know.
I also
Maybe
feel like
B.
I don't have, without ever doing stiff leg deadlifts pretty much ever, my hamstrings developed pretty well alongside the rest of my lower body muscles. And I don't see a lot of people really being like, oh man, I just wish I had like some bigger hamstrings. I want as many
That's
exercises
true.
as I can. Like, so it's just kind of like,
That's
why do it, I guess? Why not just do an RDL? Those hit your hamstrings really well too,
yeah,
and your glutes, and are less load on your low back.
that's true. But I don't think people. I don't know. A lot of people are quad dominant and they don't. They need to do more posterior chain things.
Even in an RDL?
I just mean
Like
like overall.
oh, it could just be another exercise to do,
Yeah,
like another variation.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think I'd even prefer if I wanted somebody to just have more posterior chain, I think I would do more like
Hip
split
thrust.
stance RDLs and hip thrusts. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't find myself really wanting a stiff leg RDL that
Side
often.
note.
Yeah, see.
Side track.
Note.
What do you call it? Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Like insertion. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I normally I do hip thrusts on my bench, right? It's a pain in the butt and I don't like it. But I got like Wayne, I finally got Wayne to get me like this big metal pipe, right? And so I put that in my rack and I can put it lower and then I wrap my mat around it and it's not really that long. Like it sounds like it's a lot of setup, but it's actually very simple. And I do that and now I do hip thrusts on that.
I don't know what you're talking about. A metal pipe?
Yeah, it's like like
Can
for
you start it
plumbing.
all over? A plumbing pipe, and what do
Like
you do
kind of
with
like
it?
a plumbing pipe or something. I'm assuming that's for plumbing. I don't know. So I put that in my rack but I could put it lower than my bench, right?
You
Because
put
my
it in
bench
your
is too
squat
high.
rack.
I put it in my squat rack like it's a
Oh.
bar, like it's a barbell.
Oh,
So if I had
okay.
an extra barbell, I could just use a barbell, but I don't have one. So I use that.
Oh.
And then I wrap like one of my thick mats around it for like a cushion. And I do hip thrusts on that.
Interesting.
I love hip thrusts now. I just don't like them on the bench because it's too high and it's uncomfortable, and I never feel like I'm getting high enough, even though I am. It's just that the bench is too high, so I'm kind of like at this like weird angle.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have so much more like stability, and I could just do it so much better, and I could do so much more weight than I could do before.
So forget a metal pipe then. If somebody just had an extra barbell.
I'm just giving you what I'm doing, but yes.
So do you put it in the front of your rack? Like you have J hooks that stick out the front? And
yeah.
Because do you have a cage? It's kind of like a cage. It sticks out from the wall. So it does kind of create a square that you're walking into, like a cube. So do you put the thing on the J hooks that stick out from the front? So you're not actually inside of the cage. You're on the outside. Yeah, I don't have it.
It's not an actual cage. I can't put things in the middle of it. So yeah,
okay.
It's out in the front. So it'd be like where I would, when I squat, the bar is in front of the rack.
Oh, okay. But so when it's in the front like that, when you're leaning up against it, it's essentially pushing up against the rack. So you have that stability as well. Whereas a lot of times when you do it on a bench, the bench like slides, or you have to anchor it against something. Why have I never seen it done that way?
I don't know. I think
genius.
People do like that. I think people do it that way. I don't know.
I gotta try that.
I didn't know how comfortable it would be with the pad and the bar, but it's super comfortable.
Well, do you have one of those pads that a lot of people accidentally and should not be using when they do a back squat? You know, those bar pads?
Oh, no, I don't have that. No.
Those would be perfect for that.
Yeah. I use my mat, but I bet you something like that would be great.
Yeah. I hate when I see people. I used to do that. I used to do back squats with that pad on the bar.
Did you?
And gloves. Because I was like, oh heavens. But man, the movement of that bar, you can't load it up because that pad just creates such an unsafe surface on your back.
Yeah.
Now I raw dog it.
I do my Bulgarian split squats that way too, where I put it in the rack because I can get my foot lower. And then but I put my front foot elevated so I can get further down. So I always do deficit ones. But with that, I usually use my bar and then I put weights on both ends of it so it doesn't roll around. With the hip thrust, it doesn't because it just pushes up against the back and I can go. But with that, it will, and it's a pain in the butt. So
right, that makes sense. Reverse Nordics. Now, reverse Nordics. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to explain what they are. So imagine being on your knees on the ground, and then you hip thrust forward. So you kind of stand up, but you're standing on your knees. And then with a completely straight trunk from your knee all the way up to your shoulders, you're completely straight. You lean backwards, keeping very, very straight, getting as low to like your heels as you can because your heels are behind you before you come back up. And it's incredibly hard, but they're really working your quads when you're doing it. It's like a body weight quad exercise.
Honestly, you're probably not going to give it the same rating I'm going to give it, but I'm going to give it an A.
Oh, wow.
Because you could do it at home. You don't need a lot of equipment. And it really gets your quads. Like even though it's a body weight exercise, you could be really strong and you can still do this exercise and have it and go to failure, right? Because it's a very challenging exercise. And there are ways to make it easier. Like you could use a band to assist you on the way up, and you could hold onto the band so that it isn't as challenging. That would be the only knock on it, is that it can be very challenging for people to do it right. Some people might sit down a little bit more instead of like keeping that straight.
Yeah, you're not supposed to bend at your hips at all. No. You got to keep really, really straight.
So I really like that exercise, and I think it hits my quads like nothing else, and it hits the rectus femoris, which doesn't get hit as much if you're doing anything like a squat variation.
You want to explain to the audience what that is?
It's one of your quad muscles. It has to do with, I don't know. It has to do with the way that both things are like. How do I explain it? So with this, you're only bending you're bending at the knee, right? But not the hip. With the squat, you're going to be bending at your hips and your knees, and this muscle attaches at both. So because of that, it's going to get stretched more if you're just bending in one of them and not both.
Even
is
when
that a good explanation?
It is. So your quads are like all of these muscles that kind of attach close to like your hip joint, and then they run down your leg and they kind of attach around your knee. But they kind of have these different, like, areas that they kind of overlap and attach. And so even when you're doing a leg extension, you think about doing a leg extension, you're sitting up, so you're bent at the hip and you're flexing the knee and extending the knee in order to get the quad activation. But up where those muscles are inserting in your hip, there's nothing happening. So,
Yeah.
I've done leg extensions where I recline the bench really far to try to get
Yeah.
that stretch at the hip. But try to imagine, because we were talking about the triceps press down, and if you turn around and do it overhead, you're getting the stretch at the shoulder and the elbow. Like, try to think of a way that you can hit the quads when you're stretching at both the knee and the hip. That's like the only one, unless you like lay down and do a leg extension. But yeah, those are really those other quad muscles that are a little bit smaller and off to the side, they're a lot harder to hit. So I think you convinced me. I don't know if I'd give it an A. I think I'd give it a B.
Okay.
But I think even for somebody who's kind of untrained or even heavy, like you said, if you wrap a band around something stable in front of you and hold on to that band to help give you a little bit of leverage when you're going down and pulling up, like it's not only accessible for like almost everybody, but even when you're super, super advanced, they're incredibly, insanely challenging.
They are. Yeah. Yeah, I get cramps every time.
I keep thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be one of those people that can just go all the way to the ground and come back. No, hell no, they're so hard.
I always bend just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Sorry.
I've got 3 more. Let's try to go through them quickly. T-bar row. So this is where you're like, your chest is supported. Usually there's a machine for it at the gym. It's like a whole machine setup where you're kind of leaning forward with your chest supported and you grab onto a bar that kind of is shaped like a T. You put the weights on either side and you're pulling it towards you.
I'm going to give it an S because it's one of the best back exercises you can do. That's going
I was going to say, I love T-bar rows.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't need that core, you don't need your core working, so it's not limiting you, right? So you can really load it up, and it's a good way. Like, if for a back exercise, like, I know you gave pull-ups S, I gave them A because it's just hard for everybody to do. Like, this is, I think, a great exercise for everybody if you really want to hit your back. So I'm going to give it an A.
The only reason I'm gonna knock it down to an A is because I think for people with big chests, depending on how the things, it can be hard. I don't have that problem.
Yes.
Also, if you don't have, a lot of people don't have access to, I like to kind of makeshift this with like my landmine, but it's not the same, because one of the other things I love about a T-bar row is the angle of the bars. You don't have to think about it naturally. If you pull those elbows back, you feel it in your back because of the angle of the bar. Whereas if you do like a barbell row, it's harder because your hands are in that fixed position and you're not like super neutral with your hands. I love the T-bar row.
I love I can't do it at home, but I love the landmine row, but I don't have my chest supported. So I still have to, engage my core and everything. But I have an attachment that goes on it that I can hold it in that like neutral position and pull back. So I do love that exercise, but it's not as good because my chest isn't supported.
That's one of those ones. Jordan Side always talks about how much he loves his reverse. What is it that he has? A reverse hyper? He has a reverse hyper machine in his home gym.
Yeah.
And those machines are so big because you got to get your whole body on it and you got to like swing, like pendulum swing this weight through it. And it's literally for one exercise. And normally that's not like you don't, but he's like, it's so worth it because that's how I feel about T-bar row. Like, I feel like having a T-bar row machine or like set up in my gym would be so awesome because I just love that exercise so much. Last 2. One is a Cossack squat. So Cossack squat is like a lateral, you know this, but I'm just saying it, a lateral lunge, except you're going all the way down to the floor and getting like a stretch on the long leg in the squat or in the lunge. I love Cossack squats. I think for me personally, I want to give them like an A. Like, I just love them. But I think like in general, I'd give it like a C. They're really hard to access. I was going between
C and B just because they're so hard to do.
Like, so hard. It requires so much mobility. It's not even a strength thing. It's a mobility thing. If you don't have the mobility to get into a Cossack squat, it's like you can't do them. It's inaccessible for most people.
Yeah, and there's ways like you could hold on to something and it makes it easier, or there's ways you can help, but it's still, it's a very challenging exercise for most people. I love how well Sorry. It's good. I
Just
love
leaving it in there because I'm not cutting out any filler. So burps, coughs, dog barks. It's all going in.
It's like I'm sick, so it's like all starting to build up in there.
Yeah.
And I want to like hold on. Did I mute that? Hopefully I muted
Thank
that.
goodness, yes, you did.
Okay. What was I saying? Okay, so I like how good they are for mobility. And yeah, I don't think they're like the best hypertrophy exercise though, or anything like that. Yeah, I'd
Right.
give it a C. A C.
Yeah,
don't
they're
think-
decent.
It's not a bad exercise though.
Yeah. It's decent for hypertrophy. If you can load it up, then you can get some good quad. You know, it's not going to be my go-to. If you were like, I want to build my quads, I probably wouldn't program a Cossack squat. But it's one of my favorite exercises when I just want to feel like athletic and mobile. I love just like sinking into Cossack squats with like a relatively heavy kettlebell. And I feel I feel like athletic.
It can be very frustrating if you're not very good at them and you go try to do them.
Yeah, I would say there's a very small population of the people that can do them well.
Yeah, I can't even do them well.
Yeah, which is why I would knock it down. Last one is the abductor machine. I give it a
The
C.
good girl, bad girl machine?
Yeah, exactly.
C? No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
See, I mean,
it's fine.
it's just meh. It's fine. Yeah,
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with
C's
it.
C's not a bad grade. It means
Yeah.
you're mediocre.
That's yeah.
I never choose to do it. Whenever I've been in a gym, all the years that I've gone to gyms, I never. It's not that I've never done it. I've done it. I never prioritize it. I never program it. I just know. It's a C. That's my answer.
Yeah. I would.
Meh.
Yeah, it's meh. Nothing wrong
Yeah,
with it.
I think you can get stronger, both abductor and adductors, through like really good squats and like other exercises.
Yeah, like I like Copenhagen planks and things.
Copenhagen planks, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I like doing it with the cable. Like I like cable.
Yeah,
abductions or adductions. Yeah,
that's true. I do like those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the machines. Anyway.
Yeah,
C.
I like doing like curtsy lunges and things like that a little bit more. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add one?
Yeah.
So you did reverse Nordics. What about the regular Nordic curl?
Yeah. So for hamstrings.
Yes. So the other way.
I was thinking about that because we had just finished with stiff leg deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
Nordics. So Nordics are the same thing as reverse Nordics. You're kind of standing up, but on your knees instead of your feet. And then instead of leaning backwards, you're leaning forwards and you're controlling it and you're keeping your hips completely straight and you're trying to control the movement using your hamstrings and getting as close to the ground as possible before coming back up.
And you have to catch yourself and push yourself back up.
The goal is so a lot of people just like flop on the ground.
Yeah,
like
you don't want to do that. You want to do it as slow
right?
and controlled as possible.
You really want to. It's harder to get assistance with this one. So with a reverse Nordic, it's really easy to just hold onto the band while you're going back. But when you're going forward, it's harder to create a situation where you can assist yourself.
You can use a band, but it's awkward. It's
hard
not,
to set up.
It's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a solid way to set it up too. You want it kind of almost like on a squat cage, like long, so that you can lean into it, right? Is that how you would do it? Or you can hold on to it while it's hanging, but I think that would mess you up.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know what you just said. I was thinking about, I would be like my back to the squat cage.
Oh, yeah. And you're in the band.
Yeah, you're in the band.
Yeah. I was thinking facing the squat cage, but having the band like along the J hooks and like leaning into it almost.
Okay, I do that.
Kind of like a band assisted push-up. Yeah, plyo push-up. Kind of like that situation.
Yeah, okay.
What did I give reverse Nordics? An A or B?
An A? I think, did I give it an S? No, I give it an A, right? Did I give it an S?
It an A. I think I might have given it a B. Either way, whatever I gave those, I'd give this one grade lower.
I agree. I don't remember what I gave them. I don't remember I gave them an S or an A because it's just so much harder to set up. And also like, getting your feet. I usually have to put my feet. Like I put it like under. It's such a big setup for me. Like I will get my bench and like how it has, things on the bottom for your feet. If you're doing sit-ups or something, I'll put my feet under that to keep me, so my feet,
you've got to anchor yourself.
You have to anchor yourself. Yeah.
With
and then I put
reverse
weights
Nordics, you
on my
don't.
bench so it doesn't
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
And then I have to get like a big cushiony mat instead of and they're just those are harder than reverse Nordics.
They are. And the other thing is that when you're leaning back, when you're sitting on your knees but you're leaning back, it's taking pressure off of your kneecaps as you lean back. But if you lean forward, you're literally rolling your kneecaps on the ground.
That's why I need
like
that
you
cushiony
said,
mat.
Yeah, you have to have like a bunch of cushion. It's harder. It's way harder to set up. You can't just plop down on the ground and do them. You have to set up so many things. And so,
I think
definitely
it's
a full grade down.
Great exercise for your hamstrings. And same thing with the reverse Nordics. Like, even if you're advanced, this is still going to be challenging. Yeah. So I think it's a great exercise. And the same thing with your hamstrings. I don't know which hamstring muscle it is, but the same thing applies where it's going to hit that one muscle that doesn't get hit as much with other exercises. But yeah. Anyway.
I want to do reverse Nordics now. Like, I want to go do them right now. Like, in my workout, I'm going to just put reverse Nordics. It's like I forgot they existed momentarily. I just talked myself into other reasons I love them. All right, awesome for being sick. You really killed it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Appreciate that.
I'm kind of laughing to myself because you texted me earlier, like, can you kind of carry the podcast because I don't feel that great. And while we were doing it, I was thinking the way that I carried it was I had a lot of questions, and it almost would be better if you're sick to reverse it. Like, no, you carry it because you ask me a bunch of questions and then I'll talk the whole time.
It wasn't though, because when I don't want to think, but I don't mind being.
Yeah, I know
it's
what
like
you
being
mean.
directed. Like, you can ask me a question and I can answer it, and that requires less thinking because I already know what my answer is. Than me trying to come up with ideas of what to talk about is sometimes challenging. I don't know, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't as bad as I thought I was going to be. But I'm elite, and that's how I am.
Exactly.
I'm exceptional.
I'm going to let you have it because this is the podcast about how elite you are.
It is.
My turn next time.
I'm
Just
not
kidding.
elite at signing off. Thank you for listening. Comment, please.
Thank you so much for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.